Hey, all right, we're going to get a weekend workout in. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be structured very similar to what we've gone over in the gym. Um, I think you like the circuit style where we go through all the exercises and then back again for so many rounds. Um, we're going to talk a little bit about bands. We're going to go through a warm up here. I'm going to tell you how to do it, what we're going for, and then we're going to demo the exercises of about a few reps each. And I'm going to go about 3 reps. That way I can give you a pretty good idea of and pretty good idea of what I'm doing. I'll try to go through different angles. Okay, so first off, want to tell you about the app that I use because this is going to be app driven. We're not counting reps here. It's the Tabata Timer Pro, and it kind of has a traffic signal layout to it. If you're on Android, it looks like this. See, it's kind of got the traffic light on its side. It's not a real traffic light or anything. It's just play on that word. And then if you're on Apple, it's going to look like this right here. Go on the App Store. So same deal. I mean, it's by Tabata Timer for HIIT, and that's high intensity interval training. So that's what we're kind of efforting towards here today. And I want to tell you the history of how they found out about this in a real quick, broad strokes kind of deal. Maybe you remember back when boxers like Muhammad Ali used to fight in the 70s. I think he fought up pretty far into the 70s. But anyway, they'd show them training and they would be running long distances, slow. I remember Norman Mailer, I read one of his books about the Ali fight, and he was in his camp and they would go out and run for like 11 or 12 miles. And what they found was that's not the best way to train for boxing because they go in these 3-minute bursts and they'll have a minute rest. And even though that minute rest, they're getting the wind back just enough to get out there again, it does have a different effect than if you went on through that minute. And see what happens is that's kind of the difference between running in place and then kind of having these short bursts with rest in between is that the second, the one I just described, the interval training is more effective in the long run. Gets the heart rate up to a higher threshold, which is good, always good. And it also, kind of helps definitely helps our aerobic system. But that brief rest, we can kind of start getting that energy back and start, doing more at the beginning of each set coming up. So keep that in mind. So we're going to go through this Tabata timer. I'm going to show you how to fix it for what we're going to do. And right now I'm going to show you the structure of what we got. And this is Larry Nails for Breakfast Cowgirls workout for the weekends. Alright, this is top secret stuff. You gotta destroy this video after you do this workout. But the deal is we got a warm up, and it's kind of extensive, but that's okay because it kind of has an opportunity to kind of hit those things. It's the weekend, we're going through this. It's going to take us about 26 and a half minutes, just this right here. So add on a good 10 minutes right here. But this is good because theoretically this weekend you got a little bit more time to kind of pay attention to those aches and pains that accumulate through the week. But what we're going to set up on the timer is going to be this right here. All you got to look at is the number of exercises. And so we're here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then how many rounds. And I wrote that right here. Now that is not going to always be consistent across the board, but you're looking for this right here: 5 circuits, 5 rounds. I think this one has 5 They call them Tabatas, which is a bastardization of the actual Tabata, but we'll get to that, or maybe we won't. I hate to be long-winded on these things like everybody else, but that's what we're looking for. 7 exercises, and we'll plug that into this timer here. And what we're going to do here, I'm going to use the Apple version. Okay. Well, I could never count cards in Vegas. But here's the deal. I didn't know my password. I'll show you on the Android. And it's a bigger screen anyway, so. So we're looking at work. I'll put this in for 25 seconds. So we don't have to do any counting. We're just going to work at a continuous tempo. I'll kind of show you what we're looking for there. We hit set, and then we go down to rest. I'm going to make the work a little bit longer than the rest. We'll make the rest 20 seconds. Now, at the beginning, it might not feel like you're doing too much, but this has a tendency to accumulate. So as you get further into it, it becomes a struggle. So we have, well, let's go with 7. I believe that's what they're wanting. And we'll go with 5 Tabatas. Alright, 45 seconds in each set. That's work plus rest. And then with 7 exercises, going through it 5 times, that's going to give us a pretty high number. Around 26.5 minutes, I've figured it out. I'm just really hoping that this is what I think it is, and that is 7 exercises and 5 times through. The T1, that's kind of, you have 3 different timers on here, and this is the first timer. Once you're ready to go, you hit start, okay? But that should be it. I know there's some, so we'll hit this gearbox. And we've got timer. Let's see. Repair, we got 10 seconds. Cool down, runs once at the end of the workout. Cycles. That's right, 7 exercises, okay? And then Tabata's 5. Recovery. Runs between each Tabata, 2 minutes. We should never need 2 minutes right there. You're going to get cold if you went 2 minutes between each round. You might need it one day. I hate to say that, but I don't know what intensity you're putting into it. That's why sometimes these things take me a long time, is because I want to make sure I do everything right and, not get you in a bad way. So recovery, let's go ahead and put this at 20 seconds. We'll just make it consistent. There'll be no extended break. However, if you need one, try to get it at the end of the 7th exercise, which is going to be the half kneeling row. See that? A lot of acronyms on that one. It's like an alphabet soup. So there we go. But that was in the gearbox underneath the timer there, and we're ready to go. I think you have an option there if you want it to blink or not, and a sound like the guy will count down. But one of the reasons why this is such a popular timer is you can play the music in the background, and they'll talk occasionally through that music, so you don't have to, it doesn't frustrate you. Okay, let's see here. Blink. I guess you might need that if you'd like to know about when that work timer is about to sound. And then let's look at sound. Volume's up. We don't need it to vibrate. This is all personal preference, really. You'll see what this means. Countdown sound. They'll kind of count down the end of that set on each set, and rest too. Speaking coach, starting session. They'll let you know stopping session, pausing, work halfway. Let's go ahead and put that. That's not checked, but let's go ahead and put that, because we've got one arm exercise, and we need to know halfway since we're doing 5 rounds and not an even number. Rest, cool down, Tabata complete, session complete. Okay, so everything looks pretty good. There's the screen if you want to check that out. Almost every box is checked except for the top one. Okay. All right. So we're good here. This just starts us off. We're going to get started with what we call a golf 90-90 stretch. And this has us on our side. And really, all we've got to look out for is a few things. And that is make sure that the knee is above the hip here. You don't want it below the hip. You want it above. You want to lock in your lumbar spine. And then arms extended from the chest, you're going to follow the hand as it goes back and behind, and then you're going to close it up. All the while, that knee is maintaining contact with the ground. It never comes up off the ground. If I can't reach, and I can't, I know some people who can, I hate them, but if you can't reach back to the floor back there, don't worry about it. It's all about opening the chest here. Follow the hand with the eyes. I can't stress that enough. And then close it up. All right. That's your golf 90-90. Know it, love it. That does a lot of things. Like I say, it gives you that thoracic kind of circumduction there, where you can really go and open that whole serratus, that whole shoulder, armpit, lat area. A lot of stuff going on right there. And it also, man, it really feels good for the back once you let it lock in and let the muscles surrounding it actually do their job. They're really, really dormant because we sit on them a lot and we slouch. But let's wake them back up on our warm-up. From our golf 90-90, now we want to do 10 reps a side there. Criteria, arms extended, 90 degrees from the torso. You want to follow that hand. As that hand moves up into that semicircle, follow that hand with an eye. And then try to open it up and then close it back around. Okay, so we're on the bird dogs. You've probably seen these before. This is a glute activator, also a core exercise, but you want to make sure you do it right. Arms, 90 degrees from the floor. Try to get away from this thing right here. I got it too. You want to settle in. And you want to extend and flex the opposite shoulder and leg. Try for no rotation as you extend those contralateral limbs. This is a good time to sync up your breathing with your movements. And sometimes you'll see people really swing that foot up back and behind. Try to go for an extended knee. We're trying to activate the glute there, the hip. And if you sit a lot, by virtue of the hip flexors being stretched, or tight rather, the glutes just don't fire. So we got to wake them back up, and this one does a good job of doing it. You want to kind of lead with the heel here. You don't want to end up like right here. That's no good. That tells me there's a lot of hamstring involved. So you want to go here. And I like to point the toes toward my knee. That lets me kind of activate the glute a little easier. So it's almost like if there was a box right behind me, I'm pushing it back. All right. Go for 10 aside there. And we're kind of warming up the core with that one, hitting the glutes. We're also, if we're doing our job and making sure our hands are directly below our armpits and we don't go away from it like this right here and start those bad habits, then we're getting a lot of kind of shoulder stability by packing that in. So good work if you're starting to get tension this way instead of this way. All right, yes, do keep that into an alternating pattern so it looks like this. And of course you'd want to go just a little bit slower. This is your warm-up. I mean, this is your chance to kind of take it slow, and acclimate yourself into the intensity that this workout deserves. All right, so we've done the bird dogs. Let's hit the hip flexor stretch next. This is the one that has you in a half kneeling position. And I go ahead and I kind of push my knee right there, and then I settle my shoulders down, and I'm wanting to stretch this area here. Now, hip flexors will kind of encompass the top of the hip, top of the pelvis, top quarter of that femur, but it's not uncommon to feel it around here too, because we're also kind of stretching that area too if we kind of angle forward. You know, your hip has a lot of flexion in it and a lot of extension too. You can go, I'm not encouraging this, but you shouldn't, I mean, you can get a stretch here. Let me go ahead and finish this basic stuff here. Squeeze the glute. You know, you don't want to extend in the lumbar. You don't want to do that. Keep yourself straight. Knee, you know, kind of envision where the femoral head is, where the, you know, where that femur will end and where that kind of that condyle will come in, that tibia and the fibula. And, you know, a good way to kind of keep yourself from extending this way is to act like you're going to take a punch and really brace and make that hard right there, but then just bring the shoulders down, squeeze the glute, and hold for 30 seconds. If you want more stretch, keep this heel flush on the ground. Don't bring it up like that. Keep it flush and give yourself that leeway there. And hold for 30 seconds and repeat on the other side. So this is, you know, I don't think ideally you would hold, you know, statuesque here, like say something like this. You know, I've always kind of favored a kind of, I know this is kind of just me talking, I did kind of like just that shot right there. I thought that kind of showed. But, yes, you know, stretching, isometric, I just always kind of pushed a little bit. I know that people say don't do that, but I think if you're really, really cautious about what you're doing and you're not working past anything, you know, I think you're all right. No. 30 seconds. So, yeah, you settle into it. And just by the glute contracting, you'll get a good stretch in those hip flexors there. So that one would be a timed hold. You really wouldn't do any reps there. You count down, you know, really go for a stretch there, 30 seconds aside. And then your latissimus dorsi stretch on a Swiss ball. You're going to look like this. You want to go thumbs up here. And then just kind of push that ball out. You know, I'm not going to do this right here or try to get away from this. The whole point is not to have that contract. It's to lengthen it and then emphasize it and just relax as much as you can. We're trying to really stretch that muscle underneath the armpit to its fullest capability. You know, we're really trying to stretch that out because the lats, you know, people will get caught up in thinking, hey, they're right in here. They are. That's where they are. You see those bodybuilders, you know, and then they'll pop out those big lats. But that lat muscle wraps around, will attach in front of your humerus there. And if you think about it being tight, man, you really get that angle there, and that's no good. So we want to get away from that. You want to bring that humeral head back. Push that back. I always think about distance between those two areas there, the ear and the top of the shoulder. So on this one, with the lat stretch, the thumbs up will have you locate that just a little bit easier. Plus, if you have any kind of impingement, there's a tricky area there. It's just a little bit trickier if that palm's facing down than it is just rotating that wrist up. So do your best Fonzie impression. Hey. And then just hang out there. Again, we're going to go stretching. Sorry. We're going to stretch the armpit area on our extended arm that's on the Swiss ball. This right here, this shoulder here, I'm packing it. You know, I'm not doing this. I'm not clumping away from the ground. I'm not also letting my back go. I'm, you know, pushing, I'm tamping that shoulder down toward the hip. And then I'm stretching it out right here. So the more you think about it, it's our habits that get us into trouble. The multi-joint, multi-muscle movement patterns where we're, oh, I want that, or, hey, you don't want to, I don't think the ideal is that you want to think about every little thing in your day-to-day, but your warm-up is a chance to really segment those muscle groups away from each other and focus on and fine-tune that stuff. It's not an accumulation of even more movement. I really feel like it's an isolation thing. So really go for those things I talked about, a stretch, a passive stretch, lengthen those muscles, not a contraction. You don't want the muscle hard. Okay, and on that one, a good 30 seconds aside. So it will look like this in real time. Yeah, I think strong on 45-40. Steve Martin. All right, so 30 seconds there, and then you would just hit the other side, go 30 seconds there. A word on the hip, if you want to feel your abdominals on this one, make sure that you keep the hips above, if not a little bit further away from the knees this way. You don't want to do this, but, because the main thing is stretching this right here. If all this confuses you, forget I even mentioned it, but I'm just saying, if you want to not do this, see how far my hips are back? Keep them directly above the knees there. And I'm moving it again. But hang out 30 seconds. And reverse lunge to balance. So there's a lot going on. We moved up from T-ball to Little League with this one. So that's why the total reps here are 10 total, 5 aside. Definitely try to go into that alternating pattern, but man, just make sure you got a wall or someplace to hold in case things go awry. But they won't. So all you got to do is, all you got to do is, so let's say I've got a wall, I can just face it or just stand alongside it. And, I'm going to step back, and I know this isn't the best angle. Let's go, there we go. Maybe that'll help. And you're going to step back, come up, and just hold. And I said we'd go in alternating pattern, so in real time, it would look something like this. I have my wall here. If I need it, I want to kind of work away from that. But I'm going to step back, and I'm going to descend. I'm going to keep my chest up. If I need to kind of flex my hips, because a lot of people do, they don't know they're doing it, but their hip flexors are so tight, it's going to look like this on them as they go down. And they don't know they're doing it. If they're lucky, they're just still doing this, but a lot of times they're doing this. As you step back, start lessening the involvement of that back leg. Allow that calf to stretch. Descend. And then if you need to pause and gather your balance at any point as you bring that knee up, by all means do so. Every rep should be an adventure, an epic adventure on that one if you're not used to it, because think about everything you're doing. I mean, you're stepping back from one, that's already getting shaky, and then you're also descending. All right, and then I'm asking you to come up and grab that knee. But you get used to this stuff. Take your time on this stuff if it's a little hard or a little challenging. It's okay, you know, you'll be surprised with what you can do and how quick you can get there. But that's the gist of our reverse lunge to balance. We're kind of working on some hip strength, you know, trying to kind of rest back. You know, if you don't step back in a while, you're going to be kind of tenuous. So any kind of range of motion there is good. And then as you go for the knee, don't go using the back like that. Keep the chest up. If you can't reach the knee, that's okay. The main thing is balance. So if we're going here and we can't reach the knee, then you just, you know, hang out like Danielson doing the crane kick. Did you know you can't defend that? It's true. No can defend. So in real time, we're going to switch that up. So we'll go. Use those arms to help you balance. You know, I'm just kind of clapping my thigh there to kind of signal that I'm at the bottom. You know, if you can, you know, work towards on increasing that range of motion over time to where, you know, you kind of get that full range of motion. Don't sacrifice full range of motion because you're bothered by the impact of the knee on the floor. Grab your pillow. I mean, keep on using that. I mean, if you got that range of motion, keep it because that's good. That's good. 10 total there with a kind of single leg reverse lunge to balance. And we're going into open pec stretch. There we go. Yeah, so this one, we want to open the pecs up. You know, like a doorway here. The doorway. If your house didn't come with a squat rack, relaxed, no contraction. Feels good to open that area up. I'm never going to let my elbow go above shoulder height here because my upper traps are going to go. We don't want that. Just relax this right here and, you know, reference your arm in space. Is that elbow above my shoulder? Yeah, bring it down. Relax all this. And then just kind of rotate away as that doorway keeps that elbow back behind the doorway. So 30 seconds aside there. And then we want to kind of get the heart rate up. So let's go side to side hops. Right here. Total of 20 seconds right there. So let's get started here. We got, and I'm going to just kind of show you the exercises, and then we'll go through around. So the first one, I picked me up a band because I think just want to cover all bases in case you've got this style, but I think you got this one here. More like, let's see, so the either or is fine. I mean, these both serve a purpose. So it's really, you know, where you're at. So on this style workout, you'll see how it goes here. We've got our bottle timer plugged in. We're ready to go. We've got squats row. You know this one. We've done it a lot of times. It's kind of a combo move. We'll do this here. Now, you have two handles. I've got two. I don't know where the other one is. Like the Wizard of Oz. Oh, and you can put up a chain. You can put up a chain, and that takes a lot of the guesswork out of your anchor points. You can just, you know, if you got a hard plastic, if you got a hard plastic carabiner on your bands, it's still okay. See if I can't get you to see what I'm doing here. So I'm just to fix that chain with something that will keep it in place. I think it might slide off that actually. No, I got it behind this bar here. And then when I go to do my exercise, chances are I've got a link there. I can just hook it to that chain. If I want to go high, I can go there. Or low, I can go there. Because we'll really adjust those heights on these exercises. That angle from which you're pulling or pushing from really impacts the angle of the bone in the joint socket a lot of times. So with our squat to row, we're here. We'll squat as I come up to the row. The squat rack's coming too. And see, I'm kind of giving you a couple of reps on each before we go into the actual workout, just to show you what's up. That's the squat to row. A combo move. Want to get the heart rate up on that one. So again, we talk about that squat. We don't have to go below. Rip my pants. Saw it here. Well, you don't have to go parallel or below it. Control every degree of range of motion. Start your row as you come up. All right, 20 seconds there. It's okay if you get fatigued and it looks like this. Just some kind of descent with the weight going back on the heels for just a split second. 25 seconds of that exercise, then we got 20 seconds rest. Next exercise is the deadlift. This is the one if you had this band. You would attach the carabiners. And you would stand on it. Alright, keep the back flat. See how I was kind of doing that right there? No. You want to keep your chest up, shoulders down, and then use the hips. Alright, 25 seconds there, 20 seconds rest. I'll be daggone if I didn't split these pair of hands. Woo! Alright, so after 20 seconds rest and after those deadlifts, next up is the banded dead bugs. And it's going to look like this. So I always lock out my elbows here. I want my arms contracted throughout because I want all this to be fighting. I want it to struggle. My band's going to be taut. My arms aren't going to be here relative to my torso. I want to go here. Okay. apologize if I don't think I did, but I apologize if so 20 seconds rest after that, and then you would just keep that alternating pattern. This should never go. Look to shorten your range of motion on the legs as they travel out, as opposed to doing anything, giving up with the tension you're producing here, because that's killing a lot of birds with one stone right there. So if you needed to modify that at all, you're looking, and I'm holding the imaginary band here, but instead of going straight leg, when you start to give up your back and start to flare out those elbows, chop it, cut it off. So if I'm like right here, and see, that allowed me to keep the pressure on where it needed to be. Yeah, you don't want to extend that leg so far out there that really makes the lower back work and extend into a bad area. 25 seconds on what we call the banded dead bug, and 20 seconds rest. And then, hey, it's push-ups. Push-ups, push-ups, push-ups. You didn't think you were going to get away without it, did you? So here's how we'll do our push-ups. Now, like I say, none of these sets should take it out of the body by themselves. It's an accumulation, So if your first set of push-ups, hey, that's not too bad. Give it time. And vice versa, if you start off going gangbusters, modify some of these, and I'll go through some of those at the end here. Our push-ups. Stop thinking knee position here and think about quad position on the floor. Because see, then my hips stay in a straight line. It's hard. See, that starts to hurt my knee. But if I'm here, I'm more honest. All right. And my arm width, that's just natural. If I'm really long armed, my hand stance is going to be wider. But my leverage, I've got longer leverage, so yeah. But you don't want to get too much triceps either. In general, the closer the hands are, the more tricep you're getting. This right here. Think about the forearms being completely perpendicular to the floor as you do this one. And if you really go lax in the legs and really force the chest to do the work on the arms, you'll really get a good workout with the modified knee or quad position, because you're only giving up. I mean, it is a lot of angle there if you're figuring the calf, but it is maybe a sixth of you, maybe more, probably more. But yeah, really focus on those push-ups, and put a lot of your force to the bottom of the heel of your palm there, because that's all that's going to travel up the bone. If it's up here, you're getting some hand issues, and then you can kind of splay out the fingers when you have all that pressure right there. Splay them out, and they can kind of grab, kind of help stabilize the wrist. But 20 seconds push-ups. So if you started off gangbusters and was going from the toe position, and you started to fatigue, breathe out as you come up, by the way. Breathe in, breathe out. Well, let's say you started fatigue. Drop from the toes, push away from the knees, breathe out. Reset. That's what we call a halvesy. And then this is your modified knee position. Going for 20 seconds. Okay. All right, are we having fun yet? Okay, bridge holds with supine anti-rotation press. This is a new one. Figured I'd throw a good one on you. A lot like our dead bugs, we're going to hold the band But instead of it pulling us directly backward, it's going to pull us directly left here. And as I'm in this supine or sit-up position, really, I'm going to keep both halves of my back on opposite sides of the vertebra. Opposite sides of the vertebra. I want to try to keep equal pressure on the floor. I'm going to keep a bridge position, so I'm going to keep this. I'm going to get it about. There we go. Man, that's a pretty good challenge. If I was to do that, I'd probably go 10 and feel good about it. I don't do those very often, but I like that one. I don't know if it was just a setup or what, but that'll wake you up. A lot of times with bands, it's just, it seems like you have to lot for just a couple of seconds before getting to every exercise to determine where exactly you need to be for that optimal intensity level. Oh, I got out there. Woo. So I'm trying to keep my hands in the midline of my chest. Shoulders are relaxed. Elbows, you might notice I'm really kind of pushing into my rib cage. That's okay. You almost have to if you're using some pretty good intensity. But I maintain that bridge hold, and I want to feel that in my glutes. I don't want to feel that in the lumbar at all. That should be all glutes right there. And as we're fighting for stability and strengthening our glutes, an extra kind of disturbance, that distraction there, will really light your obliques on fire. You thank me later. Okay. RNT squat. RNT just simply means reactive neuromuscular training, and I'll put that real simple for you. We feed, unquote, quote unquote, the mistake. So in your squat, but you have a good one, by the way. Don't want to assume you don't or think you don't when you do. Just need to control the hold descent, and this is, interval training, so we're getting winded. We don't need to go balls to the wall today. We've done that at Fitness Plus. They've been taking off the streets for us. So this is kind of a chance to get in some work, tax the cardiovascular system, all the things you want as far as like strength and fitness and losing weight goes. This one is not going to build as much muscle as the ones in the gym, so you're not going to get that kind of increased metabolism that you would get from a traditional strength. But I don't want to say that because the bands can really, as old John Madden would say, put the hurting on you where you feel it tomorrow. But our RNT squat, we're feeding the mistake. So we just want to find a band that's going to push us forward, because the mistake in a squat, there's lots of them, but the main one is, that we're already doing this. When we go to squat, our center of gravity is such that it's all knee. It's all knee. So instead of anything, like I say, we're locked up right through here. But there's no mobility there. So it all goes to our knee. And you see that angle right there? That's the actual exercise. It's called the sissy squat. And it's not sissy as in weak, feminine type person. It's sissy as in Sisyphus. And that guy had a job. But we're going for an RT squat here. So we're feeding the mistake. We're actually going to induce this kind of leaning forward, because what that does is wake up the muscles responsible for actually getting us out of it a little bit better. So I'm forced to activate those muscles that I was leaving unactivated in my squat. Everything else about the squat row applies. I'm always going to try to breathe out as I come up out of the squat, or out of the hole, as they say. I like holding this close. I mean, you can hold it out if you want to, but just don't make sure that you don't let the shoulders go. Keep the shoulders together and down. We're just kind of building, we're kind of hitting another area of the leg, and we're also getting a little bit more hip out of it. Okay, so we're going to finish it up here with a half kneeling row. This one will differ from all the others in that we're looking for a halfway through. So if you put halfway through on your setup, that little gearbox underneath T1, then this guy should make a sound. If not, I go by 5s. This thing's taking 45 minutes. I'm sorry. Shall we? Well, this might be on America's Funniest Home Videos. With Bob Saget. I like the row with the half kneeling position. I'm going to take a knee on my right knee, and I'm holding onto the band here, but I would preferably you hold on to the handle. I'm just holding onto the band because I want to demo that you should have a taut band at the beginning of every rep on a banded exercise. And that really kind of eliminates one of the positive aspects of using band work, and that is a fixed trajectory. So I kind of got the anchor point a little high, so I can allow that humerus to kind of go down into that socket. Use that, and then pull, thinking of that shoulder blade wrapping toward the spine. Use that rotation if you need it. If not, like I say, it's not imperative. But then switch. And like I say, if you didn't hear halfway through on this one, because it is going to be a timed work rest, then go 5 reps, 4, 5, and then go 5 on the other, and just keep that up until the round is up. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. Once you have everything plugged in, then you would hit start, and the guy basically tells you when to start and stop. If you got any questions over this one, let me know. All right, Larry, have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow, 8:30. All righty then. We'll see you then. Have a good one. I'll fix my pants.